The alien warrior stood tall in the clearing, her imposing figure outlined against the twin suns of her planet. Clad in gleaming armor, she radiated strength and dominance, her reptilian features betraying no emotion. Her battle-scarred hands held a double-edged glaive, the blade shimmering ominously. Opposite her stood a lone human, unarmored, seemingly fragile, yet staring her down with a fiery intensity. "I thought you were weak, human," she sneered, her voice a guttural growl that echoed in the dense forest. Her species, the Drakar, had long dominated the galaxy, priding themselves on their physical prowess and warrior traditions. To them, humans were an enigma, physically unimpressive, technologically inferior, and yet somehow resilient. The human, a young woman named Elena, smirked. Sweat glistened on her forehead, and her breathing was labored, but she stood her ground. "That's what everyone thinks," she replied, her tone calm but laced with defiance. "Until they're proven wrong." The Drakar warrior's golden eyes narrowed. "Your kind has always relied on tricks and machines. Here, there are no weapons, no allies. Only strength matters." Elena rolled her shoulders, her hands tightening into fists. "Then let's see how strong you really are." With a roar, the Drakar lunged forward, her glaive slicing through the air with deadly precision. Elena dodged to the side, narrowly avoiding the blade. She was fast, faster than the warrior anticipated. The human's movements were fluid and precise, honed through years of rigorous training. What she lacked in brute strength, she compensated for with agility and strategy. The fight raged on, a blur of motion and sound. The Drakar's strikes were relentless, each blow intended to end the battle. Yet, Elena evaded them with calculated precision, countering with quick jabs and kicks that disrupted the alien's rhythm. She was wearing her opponent down, exploiting openings with an almost surgical focus. "You fight like a predator," the warrior admitted, her voice tinged with grudging respect. Her breathing had grown heavier, her swings less precise. "But this changes nothing. A Drakar does not lose." Elena grinned, wiping blood from the corner of her mouth. "There's a first time for everything." With a burst of speed, she closed the distance, ducking under the glaive's arc and landing a solid punch to the alien's midsection. The Drakar staggered, her armor absorbing some of the impact, but not enough to hide her shock. Elena followed up with a sweep kick, knocking her opponent to the ground. Before the warrior could recover, Elena pinned her, her knee pressing against the alien's chest. The Drakar warrior stared up at her, stunned. Her kind's entire worldview had been shaken in this single moment. She could not deny what had just happened. She had been defeated by a human. "I thought you were weak, human," she said, her voice softer now, laced with a mixture of disbelief and awe. Elena's expression softened as well. She stood, extending a hand to the fallen warrior. "Strength comes in many forms. Maybe it's time your people learned that." The Drakar hesitated before accepting the gesture, allowing Elena to help her to her feet. As she stood, she regarded the human with a newfound respect. "Perhaps you're right. There is more to strength than I once believed." Elena smiled, stepping back. "Good. Now let's talk. There's more to gain from working together than tearing each other apart." They walked side by side, leaving the clearing behind and venturing toward a nearby camp where Elena's crew awaited. The air between them was tense, but not hostile. It was the silence of two warriors reconciling with a shared experience. As they approached the camp, the Drakar warrior's sharp senses detected movement. A group of humans emerged, their weapons drawn and aimed at her. Their expressions ranged from fear to defiance. "Stand down," Elena ordered, her voice cutting through the tension. "She's with me." "Elena, are you sure?" One of the humans, a grizzled man with a scar running across his cheek, asked. These Drakar aren't exactly known for playing nice. Neither are we, Elena shot back. But if we keep fighting like this, we'll all lose. Lower your weapons. Reluctantly, the humans obeyed, though their eyes remained wary. The Drakar warrior's gaze swept over them, her expression unreadable. These are your kin? She asked, her tone curious. They're my crew, Elena replied. Not perfect, but loyal. Kind of like me. The Drakar tilted her head. Then they have earned my respect as well, for they follow a worthy leader. The camp was a mix of makeshift shelters and advanced human technology. As night fell, the humans and the lone Drakar shared a tense meal. Conversations were sparse at first, the two groups eyeing each other like wary predators. But as the hours passed, curiosity overcame caution. The Drakar warrior, who introduced herself as Shakar, a name that meant unyielding blade, spoke of her people's traditions. She described the trials she had endured to become a warrior, the battles she had fought, and the honor that guided her actions. In turn, Elena shared stories of humanity's struggles and triumphs, emphasizing their ability to adapt and endure. By the time the twin moons rose high, the atmosphere had shifted. Laughter broke the silence as stories of shared bravery and humor emerged. Shakar found herself marveling at the human spirit. They were so different from her people, yet strangely similar in their determination and resilience. Weeks turned into months. Shakar stayed with the humans, learning their ways and teaching them about the Drakar. Together, they began to forge a fragile but growing alliance. Their combined strengths, the Drakar's discipline and physical might, and the humans' ingenuity and adaptability, proved formidable. Word of their collaboration spread, reaching both human and Drakar leaders. At first, there was resistance on both sides, but as tales of their joint victories against common enemies circulated, minds began to change. Elena and Shakar became symbols of hope, their partnership a testament to what could be achieved when two vastly different worlds found common ground. They stood together on countless battlefields, not as enemies, but as allies, shaping a new era for both their species. And in the quiet moments between battles, when the weight of their responsibilities threatened to overwhelm them, they found solace in each other's company. They had started as adversaries, but through their journey, they had become friends, and perhaps something more. As the galaxy began to heal, Elena often thought back to that fateful day in the clearing. She would never forget Shakar's words. I thought you were weak, human, and she would always smile, knowing how far they had come since then, proving that strength was not about what divided them, but what they could achieve together.